want to invite you all to come and see it for yourselves.
We want to invite you all to come see it for yourself.
Today at 5 o'clock.
Today at 5 o'clock.
And come and eat with us.
And come and eat with
And
us.
share food for
And share food for
the body,
the body,
the mind,
the mind,
and the spirit.
and the spirit.
Are you pointing up to Jesus? Are you Jesus' feet? What's going on?
No, I just wanted to ask a question. Which Rainbow Kitchen is it? Because
Kid
sometimes
Village.
that's
Kid
what everybody
Village.
was telling me. And when I was trying to confirm that, everybody was telling me now that it was some other things.
No,
I actually
what's
helped
that?
out Kitty
So
Village.
no, this is Kitty Village. We're for real. We were down at Katrina. Right after Katrina, we were there. Waveland, Mississippi, and the Welcome Home Kitchen in New Orleans, feeding hundreds of people. This is what we do.
Where will we be at 5 today?
At Romneyville.
Oh, okay.
And you take that's up towards the convention center.
Okay.
So my purpose is to find ways that we can liaison between the Food Not Bombs Kitchen, and we have a lot more equipment. We got big burners. We got everything. You come and see for yourself. Blah, blah, blah. Come and see for yourself, and I hope a few people come and share food with us, and then we can because we're getting closer and closer to Monday. Am I right?
Yes.
The big march, which is going to start right there and down the street. The people are going to be there. A lot of people are coming in, and so it's really important that it's no time. Mic check.
Mic check.
It's no time.
It's no time.
To take down the walls.
Take down the walls.
Open the doors.
Open the doors.
And get rid of the borders.
Get rid of the borders.
Literally.
Literally.
Metaphorically.
Metaphorically.
We got a lot of strong people here. A lot of people. Food Not Bombs. Rainbow Family. Seeds of Peace. Coming together to feed the people. Food for the body, mind, and spirit. You hear me? Well, let me see. So hopefully I see some of you already at 5 o'clock over at Romneyville. And I'll let people know. They already know when we
There's
come.
also a
How late are y'all going to be serving?
Well, we'll be there into the cool of the evening.
Okay.
It will segue. There'll be music. There'll be some. Hopefully, there'll be music. Hopefully, it will be conversation. Hopefully, it will be interaction. Interacting, intersecting, interrelated. Yes, sister.
Reaching up for God. No, you should grab a schedule because
Okay.
there are other things happening. So to try and schedule
Okay.
to not conflict with.
Okay. Well, sometimes you might have to make a choice.
Yeah, you're right. You sure do.
You know, if everything you do is right here, you're doing the same thing. If you make a choice at this,
No,
right
say
here,
Pete
now
today.
time to step out.
Right.
And I'm going to be doing a class here. Keith asked me to see it. Sometimes he says things, we'll wait to see what happens. But which I call hipstery. You read in the books. What do? You read history. Out of the women's movement of the 70s comes what?
Her story.
Her story. And what I'm talking about is hipstery, is the underground story of how it's all connected. Beatnik, hippie, hip hop, punk rock, and in terms of feeding, from the Diggers, I was a digger in '67, and that summer they called it Summer of Love, 1967. On that street that some called Love, they called Hate Street. So that was, if you want to know more what the Diggers were about, I can give you some, go to read diggers.org. That's and you can hear our manifestos and read them there and stuff. So that'd be hipstery. And beatnik, hippie, and connected even before back to the Wobblies and whatever questions you might have of this path that's been going on for so many decades, maybe since time immemorial, of resistance, rebellion, and resistance, rebellion, and peaceful revolution. You hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Thank
I'd be
you.
Diamond Dave,
Twinkles.
Occupy SF. When I used to be at the fight that was big at the front table, we had like 300 tents. It was huge. Well, they're all huge by November. And I'd say, and this is what I'd say, Hip Street, if you got any questions, I might have some answers. If you got any answers, I might have some questions. And what do? Here's the 4 lines. I'll let you get back to your thing. Sorry. That guy won't shut up. But anyway, here's the 4 lines. Cast a wide net. Find the common thread. Let life flourish. And then, don't panic. Just keep it organic. Okay, I hope to see you. That's a sample of things to come. Hopefully I can see you at, guys, about 5 o'clock or so.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Kitty Village is one of the known bees. That's a double U. I know, I hauled supplies for them in Tennessee.
As you were saying.
Get restarted here. Yeah, it was. So I guess there's a couple people we didn't. Here, I'll just kind of summarize what I just said. I started cop watching about a year and a half ago over in Tarpon Springs. Where we have kind of a corrupt small-time police force with a huge budget, tons of cops. Um, so pretty much. I started out, it was probably in the winter of 2010, like December that year. First time we actually went out and I actually filmed the cops. It was in Tarpon Springs. And we went with just a crappy little flip cam. You could hardly see anything. They're doing a traffic stop, and it was during a punk show that was going on at Neptune's, which is a local venue right around the corner. And we started filming, and they started, looking over immediately at us like, anything we can help you with? You got a problem with us? And we're like, oh shit, so we're like, no, everything's good. And then, the traffic stop proceeds, the guy drives away, and they just keep, standing there like this. And so we walk down the street, and they proceed to follow us as we're sitting on a city bench and just hassle the hell out of us, and not telling us that, they're going to arrest us or anything crazy like that, but just like, what do you have against law enforcement? You obviously have something against law enforcement if you're filming. It's like, no, we're just trying to keep you in check. There's nothing, we're not cussing at you or, fuck you, pigs or anything like that. Just passively holding the camera, just keeping you in check. It shouldn't bother you. Cameras are everywhere. You all are watching us, so it went back and forth for, probably about 20 minutes. And of course, there's 5 of them standing there. It shows how, what a small-time police department this is, because, they're out with like 5 officers on us, as opposed to, what isn't there other things, you should be doing, maybe like, I don't know, burglaries, rapes, all kinds of crazy shit. So, so after that, I watched a few more videos. I went out, I came over to Tampa, my friend Tommy, and now my roommate over in Tarpon, lived right up in Seminole Heights. I filmed the cops up there, and they kind of just looked at me, whatever, So I was like, all right, this is kind of interesting, I kind of like this. I'm gonna put some of these videos on YouTube. Third time I went out in CopWatch, I was arrested for filming. Over in Tarpon Springs, I noticed there was a lot of police driving around doing their thing, just ultra patrolling, pulling lots of cars over, trying to search, that kind of BS. And so I went out and on the street corner, just, totally respectfully, good distance away, and was filming the cops. And I had he was a corporal at the time. He's since been demoted to officer due to the fact that he just is a douchebag. But his name is Steve Gasson. He's one of the cops up there in Tarpon. And he's also referred to as Ticket Master. He has ridiculous amounts of tickets. He loves generating revenue for the state. More, just we need more stuff, So he's a good little drone. But so I'm out there. He comes up and he says, actually, I have the video on here. I'm gonna try and play it. If it doesn't, if these aren't loud enough, which they probably aren't gonna be, but then I'm not gonna worry about it. Yeah, we'll see. Maybe we can get this loud here. If not, then I'm just gonna. Therefore, I say to you, do not worry about your life, what you'll eat, what you'll drink, nor about your body, what you'll put on. Are you referring to the wiretapping law? Is that right? That's actually for a body more than clothing? Well, I remember I actually have read this law. No, sir, but I actually, okay, I'm just saying, what I've read, and it's, if we're in a public area where the conversation could be reasonably overheard, there are other people out here, and it could be reasonably overheard, then that does not apply to that. So, all right, yes, sir, well, I listen. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Well, sir, I mean, I'm just saying. Listen, I'm saying I'm sticking by what the law is, and that's the way I see it. So, the law he's referring
referring to?
All right, so pretty much what just happened there, and you could hear my voice all right, but you couldn't really hear what Gasson was saying. Pretty much, I have a bad, or had a bad habit then of, sir, 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 sir. I don't say anything disrespectful, but I definitely don't call him sir anymore because I definitely don't have respect for, people who are being dicks to me. But so pretty much he pulls up and he says, you can't record me without my consent. It's a felony in the state of Florida. And I say, I knew exactly what he had been because I researched the laws, wiretapping laws. Every state has them. They're archaic. They date back to the 70s. And it really applies only to phones, but cops in a lot of places have stretched that to try and apply to cameras. And it's actually a really heavy felony, and you can get in a lot of trouble. And he's saying, what happens is, he says I arrested numerous people in public for it, which is bullshit because, I mean, maybe he would have. Well, yeah, exactly. People have cameras everywhere. He was just trying to get me because he didn't like the fact that I was filming, and what I was filming wasn't even that bad. It was a traffic stop. There was really nothing going on. I mean, it seemed like a very friendly exchange. Well, yeah, exactly. So which I ended up doing by him approaching me, ironically. So, so he says, and then I take your camera as evidence, of your crime of felony wiretapping or whatever. And I say, all right, well, I just disagree, whatever. And he, speeds off at the end of the video. So I go back and get in my car and I'm driving and I see another cop pulling someone over. At that point, yeah, this is in the same night. About 20 minutes later, I'm driving and I see another traffic stop. And so fast forward a little bit, you'll be able to hear this one better. The cop gets a little closer here. Let's get up to that spot where he walks up. So I had been filming for about 45 minutes, and they had been doing, this whole thing to me. Why is he back here after we threatened him? And so then they pull their car up, shine the light at me. So pretty much I can't even see what the hell's going on. They have some guy in the car, they're giving him the sobriety test, and it just looks like very rigmarole, routine, whatever. And so I'm just standing there, I'm still filming, and then my friend Tommy runs up, he's like, hey, what's up? We're chilling, just filming on the street corner in Tarpon Avenue. And so after about 45 minutes, this happens.
Police Department.
Hi.
Here's the deal. You've been videotaping us?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. What you just videotaped was this officer receiving consent to search that person. Okay. At which time he found a felony amount of a controlled substance. Okay.
Really? Okay.
Yes. Which makes your video camera evidence now. So I'm going to request the videotape out of your camera. If you don't give it to me, you'll be arrested for obstruction.
Arrested for obstruction of justice?
Yes.
Well, I don't give you the video camera.
If you don't,
will the videotape be brought back to me?
After it's used for the purposes of this.
So you can see what a meathead this guy is.
I actually called the Tarpon Springs Police Department and asked them. Ask them what you're telling me right now.
Okay, here's the deal. I work for the Tarpon Springs Police Department.
Yes, sir.
I'm asking you nicely to give me the video camera, the tape out of it. If you don't, you'll be arrested for obstruction.
Okay, but
you witnessed a felony crime.
Well, actually, I didn't really witness anything.
You were videotaping, correct?
Yeah, but there's this big light shining up on me, so actually I didn't really witness much. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not gonna answer these questions. Let me go ahead. I'm gonna call. Do you have the Tarpon Springs police number in your phone?
With all due respect, you're going to either give me the tape or I'm going to place you under arrest for obstruction. Okay?
For obstruction of justice because I'm not giving you my tape. Right. And am I going to receive my tape back?
This tape is going to be used as evidence.
I know, but am I going to receive this?
You will not receive it back until all cases are finished. Okay?
True.
You can call what you can
okay,
call
I'm just gonna call them.
Here's the deal. Do you not? Why are you calling the police department?
I just want to ask them because
my dispatcher is not gonna know whether or not.
What's my dad's number? So I want to make sure.
So then my battery actually cut out on my camera. As the battery cuts out, and you can see what an idiot this guy. He doesn't know. He just got orders from, formerly Corporal Gasson, who said, all right, you're going to go up and you're going to say near this evidence. So, of course, and like, I'm going to need evidence purposes, So you get that thing going on. It's just like, oh, wow, but I was scared as shit and I didn't really know because I knew I don't need to hand it over. And I had seen videos on YouTube. I researched it. I'm like, this is the Fourth Amendment. I know this is not right.
That's what I'm telling. It's all like, you know what? You can subpoena this from me and may not give it to you. But until
Exactly.
a judge says I have to give it to you,
That's right. That's exactly right. And of course, they're not going to, go through that whole process of getting this. They're too lazy. It takes too much paper.
Feel free to look it up online. I can give you the address.
Yeah. 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 Exactly. Exactly. And so so pretty much the camera battery cut out. And he says, "I'm gonna ask you one more time." And I say, "Listen, I don't trust you right now." And so he says, "All right, place your hands behind your back." So they gets me in cuffs, and I'm like, "Tommy, get out your cell phone and start recording this." So Tommy pulls out his cell phone, gets about probably like the first like 5-6 seconds, and then the other cop walks up and says, "All right, we're gonna need to take that camera as well." So they not only steal my camera, kidnap me, and steal my friend's camera. It's just like completely absurd, this situation.
live stream that shit.
Well, exactly, and that's definitely a good method. I need to get a smartphone. I have a crappy brick
It's
phone.
happening right here, right
But
now.
yeah, that's it. That's awesome, and that's a really good tool with CopWatch, especially if they are stealing your stuff, or they even will break your stuff, and that does happen in certain situations. In Miami, I think it was about 8 months ago. They witnessed someone witnessed with their cell phone camera the cops shooting up some guy in a car, like over some ridiculous like 200 rounds into this car, and so he starts running. The cops are chasing after him, like, "Give me your camera, give me your camera!" And he smart as hell takes out the little SIM card and puts it hides it somewhere. And so they take the camera and smash it, allegedly. But the only reason that they have the video of this incident is because this guy was smart enough to take that thing and hide it. So I don't know, in his pockets, whatever. And so it's really important. But so pretty much that's what got me into cop watching. Getting arrested, obviously. It was kind of like, there's something up with, why are they so scared of me filming them?
Because they realize that you may have caught them planting the drugs on a motherfucker.
Well, yeah, exactly, and it very well could have been. And it raises a lot of questions about their conduct. So we got a few like local news spots with Mike Deason, who's awesome, by the way. He works with WTSP. It's a CBS affiliate, but it's actually they have a really good investigative news team. And Mike Deason's actually a really radical guy, and has he has a lot of very radical views, and does feature some pretty hard hitting stories, not just like stupid stuff on something. I don't know what they on the like a beauty contest or some shit like local news does. So anyway, so yeah, that's pretty much how I got into cop watching. Let's see for the next.
If you're live streaming, do you have to tell them you're live streaming? Or can you just pretty much laugh at them after they take your camera?
You don't have to say a word to a
Yes.
Right. And that's correct, and I'm about to get into that now about a little bit about cop watching and what your rights are
Good deal.
concerning filming the police. Uh, it is not illegal to film the police in public. Okay, remember that. It is not illegal to film the police in public, no matter what the motherfuckers say. It's not illegal, and you should do it. And if you're stopped by a cop or in any situation like that, for your own protection, especially if you have live stream, because that goes right to the internet, and that's a surefire protection. If something happens to you, you get beat up, or anything, or drugs planted on you, whatever, or just even mistreated. That's going to be right on the internet there for everyone to see, frozen in the cyberspace. Um, Pretty much, there's a couple of case law things. The most recent ruling they've had a couple of actions by the government in Massachusetts, at least. The Massachusetts Supreme Court is the highest court to rule that people have a right to film police in public, stemming from an incident that happened there. You also had the Attorney General Eric Holder has come out and said that police, have to, allow people to film in public. That is, an expression of First Amendment. But the thing is, regardless of that, it doesn't stop them from intimidating and harassing and using other little things, the bogus wiretapping law, maybe saying that you were prowling and loitering, or something like that, because there's a lot of like little laws on the books they can get you for anything, like an elastic clause. It's just encompasses anything that the cop thinks can apply to the law, and they'll try and push it in court. So what happened to me, actually, I ended up, my charges got thrown out by the state attorney. They said it wasn't a good decision on their part, and so I ended up getting in contact with a lawyer, Michael Maddox, who over here in Tampa, in South Tampa, specializes in police misconduct law, and we actually they settled with us immediately. So pretty much I've taken that money. I'm in the process of establishing a legal defense fund for cop watchers. I don't want to use that money really for any other purpose. So it'd be nice to like take it and move away, but I won't do that, because that's taxpayer money that comes from all of us. I want to put it back into the public use. So that is going to be soon to be established here in the Bay Area. I'm not sure if I want to rename the organization or anything. So anybody who's interested in CopWatch, there's information on these sheets, and you can get in contact with me or my friend Tommy. Pretty much it was just me and Tommy doing CopWatch after that point. I've never really been able to establish anything solid aside from maybe my friends and I. My friends are great, who come out with us and help aid us in doing CopWatch. We have about 100 videos on our YouTube, and I think our YouTube page is on there. But if anyone else is interested, please, come see me after, or in that, email us. But I'll get into, I guess, a little bit more on rules applying for cop watching. I just got extremely sidetracked. I just realized that's what I was supposed to be talking about here. Pretty much, if you're in a public place, there's different kinds of public space. There's public land, there's like kind of quasi-public land, and then there's private land, private property. An example of each would be like public property: sidewalks, streets, city parks, city buildings, things like that. That's public property. Now, different rules can apply to those. They set rules for those public spaces. But generally, if you are filming in one of those spaces, and it's usually outside, usually not within a building, but outside, you're fine to hit record. Quasi-public property is like, something like a supermarket parking lot. It's like they've invited members of the public onto their land, and you can just come and go, but they can exercise the right to take you off. Like this would be like almost like quasi-public property. Anyone can come into this, Voice of Freedom Park, but I guess Joe Retner is the owner of the land, so he can make a decision anytime to kick someone off or whatever. However it works. And then there's like private property, which is like somebody's house where they don't invite members of the public onto, maybe a piece of land that has a sign that says no trespassing, something like that. So generally when you're filming the cops, you want to be on public property, on a sidewalk. Maybe if you see something going down in, like this field here, and you'd want to stand over on the street, on the sidewalk, that's across from there. You wouldn't want to cross over and get too close, because the cops will use that, even though they really need, if there's if there's not a no trespassing sign, they really need the property owner's permission to, kick you off. They'll still try and screw with you about it, and you can find yourself getting into a lot of trouble. But generally speaking, you have a right to film them. You don't need their consent in the state of Florida. And there's a few states that do have a consent law, very, strict, but, those cases usually get struck down because of case law, that's dictated that, that doesn't apply in a public space, and the conversation can be reasonably overheard. That's the thing to remember. So anywhere in public, if you're in your car and you get pulled over and you hit record, you're not going to have a problem. You might want to, as a courtesy, if the officer's being polite or whatever, you might just want to say, hey, for your information, I am audio and video recording, but you have a right not to do that if you don't want to. So that's pretty much the rules that apply to I guess rules, that you should probably just stay within the confines of the law. Now, if you want to, you know, if you go outside of that structure, you might risk arrest and other kinds of things, but you might not get as much backing in court or anything like that. You might if you start doing kind of brash things, things like especially interference. That's a big thing. You see a lot of people film and they'll say, they'll see something that's like, hey man, hey, cops are dicks or something like that. I see videos like that on YouTube, and that gives the cops okay, this is disorderly conduct, because actually it is technically disorderly conduct because you are inhibiting them from doing their job. They don't even need a reason to, and then you get arrested, and then people say, oh, well, then he was yelling at the cops or blah blah blah. So yeah, so that's a thing. Does anybody have any questions, or is anybody confused, or need any clarification?
The one thing I heard about filming cops, and I'm not 100% sure about this, from I think it was maybe it's the MLG or something. You can film, but you can't record simultaneously. They can film on mute. What is
That pertains to the wiretapping, the various wiretapping laws that exist. As far as I know, I mean, I think there are federal wiretapping laws. But it's pretty much just by state basis. It's if pretty much if the especially in Florida, at least, if we're, are you from Florida?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah. In Florida, it might get kind of complicated in places like New Hampshire and a couple other places where they have this consent law, but even there it's been struck down in the courts, but the cops will still try and arrest people based on it. But in Florida here, case law has dictated that you can record if the conversation can be reasonably overheard, which pretty much arguably is anywhere in a public space. In a public space, like on the side of the road, even in your car, if there stops someone over there, that conversation, so anybody can walk by that scene and hear what's happening, so thus it's not illegal to audio record. So you aren't going to have any problems if you're on a public sidewalk, in a neighborhood, over downtown, anywhere that's a public space. You cross over onto private land, it's not your land, or you don't have any business necessarily being there. You can have a few more issues with that. If you're recording them, you go into a police station, you pull a cop aside, or the cop pulls you into a room and you all are talking one-on-one, you have a bug on you, and the cops, that can get you into trouble, and a lot of trouble. It's not a good idea to do that. So if you're in an enclosed space, wouldn't recommend recording without permission, because that's a felony. So yeah, that pretty much regards that. But yeah, don't worry about filming, and especially out in the protest, which I'll get to that. Rules for that in a little bit, because that's not really different, but there's gonna be some things to look out for. Any other questions?
Is like if you happen to be put into the back of the police car and you had your camera in your pocket, is that legal?
Yeah, they'll usually grab you
Usually they'll
before
take
you.
that away.
Yeah, but if they didn't,
If you do inevitably have that in there, that's a good question. I think you would probably.
I think it'd be private enclosed.
Yeah, that is an enclosed area.
But actually, that cruiser is still public property because the city owns it. Therefore, we own it.
Yeah, but they'll try and argue that you were wiretapping or bugging, So
Because it's like their car,
That's when you're in their
No,
territory.
that's
right,
our car.
yeah.
It's our money.
It's
That's our car. That's not.
Well, a lot of
car.
them have dash cams
Ours.
too, and that they're recording us.
All
But
their shit
ironically,
is
we're not allowed
ours.
Or
to do
miking
it
us.
with them, or Mike. Yeah, exactly. So it's really kind of scary. So yeah, that's a good question. Some of those more technical things, I'm not sure. I've never been in a situation where I've had like a little camera in the cop car. I've been in a cop car a couple of times. That would be pretty badass, but I would be kind of scary.
Like in New York, there was several incidents where people were live streaming to call the National Lawyers Guild from inside the KUAW.
Okay. Wow.
So if you get arrested and you can still get your phone, you can like call the National Lawyers Guild or be like, "Hey, I'm arrested," or the "I'm getting arrested" app from the ACLU is also good.
Yeah, there's an app where if you get arrested, yeah. On a side note, we'll definitely get into that about with RNC and everything, things like that. From the little information I know, I mean, obviously I'm not a lawyer. I've only been to college for like 1 year, I do know a little bit about some of this stuff, just from experience of feeding and stuff. But any other questions, things I'm unsure on, like the cop car thing inside the cop car, that might be something you want to consult an actual lawyer. Don't take my word for it. Because I'm just gonna say I'm not sure on that. So.
This one's kind of technical too. There was this one time, like, there was a lot of cops harassing a lot of homeless people in Tampa, and I didn't have a camera, so like I decided to like walk up close to the cops, but still like 10, 15 feet away. Like there was a huge sidewalk. And they're like harassing him, they want to search his shit. And I'm telling everybody passing by very loudly what they're doing, that they've been harassing people. And I was wondering if that would be what did you say?
Disorderly conduct.
Yeah, disorderly.
They might try and argue disorderly conduct.
Yeah, those cops were really passive.
Yeah, they're chilling. That's good. Yeah.
They
probably figured if you're popping some stuff out like that, you might have something wired on you.
Yeah,
Cops are getting smart about that. Like when we were down at Curtis Hickson last night, and those cops decided they wanted to not show us their cards that they're supposed to provide. All they would be is all like, all we have to do is give you our badge numbers. And it's all like, really? Well, that's good. I have a very good numerical memory. 339 and 125.
So,
I still gotta go file a report with their internal affairs. Probably do that tomorrow.
Yeah, that's definitely, definitely if you're, well, this will segue into the next thing about, like, what if a cop approaches you while you're filming. Yelling out, generally, that could be considered, disorderly conduct, especially, and even, being too close, the thing is you want to definitely maintain a reasonable distance. It's usually best to keep silent during, even if you are seeing, unless they start beating the crap out of someone, holy shit, what the fuck are you doing? Then it's probably more appropriate to start yelling. I wouldn't think that way, because I think everyone would be yelling at that point. But it's good to maintain a distance. I've gotten probably as close as like 30, 20 feet from cops, I don't really get much closer, because usually if you get too close, they tell you to take a step back and, whatever. I just want to, I don't want to have an altercation with them. I don't want them talking to me. I don't want to talk to them. I don't know who they are. They're a bunch of scary guys with guns and badges and authority to do whatever the hell they want to me, kidnap me and hold me for ransom. Well, I'm not scared of them, but it's kind of a, it's just a scary thing that they can do what they want with you, pretty much,
But if the main thing everybody needs to start doing is when they start getting out of line and they sit there and arrest you for something that you're not guilty of, everybody just needs to start slapping them with lawsuits. I got names of lawyers if you need them.
Yes, that's true. Well, and that's a good thing to definitely keep in mind, because Internal Affairs doesn't do much. But
Internal Affairs works for them, not us.
That's very true.
I've had them cover up a whole bunch of shit and then turn around and threaten lawyers to not take my case, or else they would give them a hard time. There's a reason why I hate the police.
Yeah, they can suck. So,
just one question about clearing up like private and public property. If it's visible from public property, are you allowed to film it?
If it's visible from public property, yes. Like if it's in someone's backyard, but you're on public property, sure. Okay. By all means, that's. Yeah, definitely.
Especially if it's a person getting beat down, because then that erases all the law.
Because I'm just worried, like, if I'm here filming something going on in that parking lot, and that parking lot's private.
Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. It's in public view. Go ahead. Yeah, if anywhere around here, back down these alleys or wherever the hell, some crazy shit's happening, don't hesitate. As long as you're on public land or you're here, because I think this is a safe spot. Obviously, people are welcome on this land. So hopefully, that clarifies that. Back to what was I saying? Oh, if they approach you, I'm gonna show a couple of videos. I think the sound is going to be decent enough on this one here. Just of what happens when cops approach you. We're in Clearwater. Clearwater PD is actually like 2 times I filmed them. Both times they've come up and approached us all freaky like. So this was a little bit after I got arrested. But what they try and do generally is come up to you and give you a hard time, kind of try and question you. What they like to do is get your identification. That's the first thing they try and do. you have the choice to give them ID or not, but generally I don't give cops ID. And you're not required to. In certain situations, you may be required to identify yourself. If you're being detained, which is, if they have a suspicion that have just committed a crime or about to commit a crime, or the prowling and loitering law in Florida, which is like, if it's late at night, you're in a weird area wearing all black, you maybe have a backpack, something like that, then it's a totally unconstitutional. Well, it is, but the Supreme Court has ruled that those kinds of laws are okay, which just shows how the courts can throw the Constitution out the window. But regardless, generally, if you are filming out in a public area such as this, and they start coming over and asking for ID, you don't have to show it. And in fact, the best thing you can say to a cop when they come up and say, "Hi, how you doing? What you doing?" You say, "Hi, am I being detained?" And if what they generally do is, you'll see in this video, they don't like to say yes or no. They like to side skirt the question, because no, you're probably not being detained, but they want to try and twist it around, make you feel weird about it, like, "Oh, well, I need to know what you're doing because I'm trying to do my job. We need to know if you're a terrorist, blah, blah, blah," whatever the hell their crazy reasons are for stopping you. There's some wild shit on YouTube about that. But I'll put it on the confrontation video here in Clearwater.
I watched a whole bunch of them. I did like 3 days watching them.
Yeah, you may have stumbled over a couple of ours because we have them up there.
So was CopWatch
You need a battery, or was that a different
Yelling at
Maybe
the
what was?
CopWatch? Is that like an older thing?
You know what I'm saying?
Well, CopWatch. Oh yeah, I didn't even go into the history of that. I'll get into that in just a minute. Yeah, I totally forgot. I was gonna go into it because that actually dates back to Black Panther. It's pretty interesting. But yeah, I'll go into that in just a second. So pretty much here, if we can get the volume levels.
I've heard about it before, I think.
If not, then I'll just kind of dictate what happened in this video.
We don't have any problem with the police department. We put up every video that we record, whether it's positive or negative. We don't put up only the bad ones, like something new. We're trying to put a.
But you're out recording the police officer interactions with police officers.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Have you had many in the past?
No,
Just start.
we've been doing this for a while. We're based out of Tarpon Springs. We do Tarpon Springs PD a lot.
Did you get my good side?
Yeah.
He's got ID on you? Yeah, I know he's getting a good side. You guys got ID on you?
Well, I mean, are we being suspected of a crime now?
No, but I have the right to stop you and ask you who you are.
Oh, my name's William. And
William,
yes, sir.
I have a right to ID you. And
Okay.
I appreciate it if you shut that off.
Well, sir, I want to respect. Well, am I being detained right now, sir?
Right now, I'm a little curious as to why I'm being recorded.
Okay, well, I know. I just don't want to be detained here. So, I mean, are you detaining me?
I'm stopping you and asking you for your information. If you want to give me
Well,
information.
if we're not being detained, I think we're gonna go.
Probably a good idea.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We figure as much. So you all seriously, we're just we're gonna take off now. So.
Purposes, we'd love to have your information so we can document it, put it into our system.
Correct. I can understand. I can understand that. So we're respectfully we are gonna take off, sir.
If you feel it's proper to stop and videotape the police when you're interacting with something that's on the street, then why do you think that it's not all right?
Sir,
we're
we're not gonna. This is not a consensual conversation. We are going to leave it this time. Okay. Thank you. My name's William. Have a good night, sir.
And you can hear him calling out, "Come on, William, please, come back, we love you. Oh, we just want some info. We just want to put you in our system." So it's so that's pretty much like what. And now, what I did wrong right there? Well, number one, the sir, that's to me, that's like a sign of weakness. That's my own personal thing. But what really, I shouldn't have even said my name was William. And the second he side skirted the question, or am I being detained? I should have been like, all right, we're out of here. And that's just it. We had already gotten done filming what was happening. We had no reason to be standing there, talking to them. And that's the thing. We inevitably, that was the second time we had ever even, well, third time we had talked to cops like that while we were filming. So we're kind of noobs, and I mean, I'm still kind of a noob. I've only had two other experiences since then, but pretty much, yeah, it's just you can walk away, and you saw how I walked away, and all they could do is just call after you. They can't, come take you there. You're in no way being detained or anything.
Although
But
I have seen videos to the contrary of where you walk away after they don't say yes or no to the detainment and just tackle you into a fucking wall.
well, yeah, and that's when you sue the hell out of them, because they have to tell you if you're being detained. I mean, they can't.
No, I got lawyers nowadays.
They can't just stop you and not say whether or not you're being detained and then tackle you because you walk away. They have to, if you ask them the question, they have to say, yes, you're being detained. What they do if you're not being detained, they'll side skirt that, just like you did. Well, I have a right to know what you're doing out here. I have a and getting you to keep talking. And the more you talk, the more you're screwing yourself over. Because 90% of the time, the cops have no evidence to really charge you with anything upon that first confrontation, unless you're right next to a body and there's blood all over your shoes. But the thing is when you're on the street corner, they're suspecting maybe you were just buying drugs or just smoking something or anything. It's usually self-incrimination is what does you in the end. So that's why you keep your mouth shut and you just say, I'm not gonna say anything until I can speak with a lawyer, please. And that's just how it goes. And it may just save your ass at the end of the day. So that's the main most important thing. Is just don't talk to cops when you're filming. You don't have to be rude, and that's actually not a good idea to be rude when you're filming. And you don't want to walk up to, am I being detained? Fuck you, man. You don't want to be like, oh, pig, blah, 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 getting real pissed at them, because what, then you play into their hands, and then they're like, whoa, look, these cop watchers they're confrontational, they're dicks, blah blah blah. Look at how they treat cops, and then it twists that around. You know what? You just be courteous, just be very straightforward and courteous, and say, hey, am I being detained? That just take a very mild tone with them. When they start losing their temper, that's when you got them in the corner. And that's when you expose the bad cops. And most of the time, I mean, ridiculous amounts. We have over 100 videos. We only have probably 3 or 4 confrontation videos. So, the vast majority of the time, the cops are gonna see you, and they might even just laugh, or they won't even give a shit. Because a lot of the time they don't care. But when you do get the cops that do come up to you and start hassling you, a lot of the time that's the bad cops that are doing something wrong. And that's what that is.
You're totally right about that. But also with one thing, in protests, you're much more likely for a cop to try to harass you about video and everything. I would think.
Yeah, but they've done giving them teach-ins, so they won't be doing weird shit.
Yeah, supposedly.
Let's hope.
They did that to clear their own ass, so all they gotta do is fire the police officer and hopefully don't have to pay $500,000.
So yeah, so that's pretty much what on the street, how you should interact with cops. Just be friendly, be polite, be smart, but don't back down. Don't give them yeah, don't give them anything more than they need, which is really nothing if you're doing nothing wrong. So and don't talk to cops. That's a very important thing. So does anybody have any questions about that? The dealings with cops, and the everyday cop watch scenario. All right. Well, I guess I'll move on. I was going to talk about. I was gonna talk about doing the cops and dealing with protests, and protesters, and that kind of thing. I only have one thing that kind of relates to that, and it's one video where they were kind of coming up and talking to us. It's more
Hey,
just.
have people left for Lago already for the Raytheon demonstration?
I know there's probably 2 ride shares that you can take right here. That's probably.
No, I have a car too, so.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, are people leaving in just a minute?
It
Nathan.
starts.
They said to start leaving around 3. I guess it would take about half an hour to an hour, and it is 3 o'clock now.
Okay. Well, I'll try and go ahead and kind of wrap this up then, because there's not much else to talk too much else here. Um, I won't go in. I don't know if you does anyone want to watch this video. It was a Food Not Bombs event with some of the occupiers down in Clearwater Beach where the cops are coming up and kind of talking. Yeah, I'll show that real quick, and then I'll just kind of explain the fact that I don't really know anything about how to deal with cops and protests, other than you should probably consult the Lawyers Guild, because there's a lot of like weird things happen in protests. I've never been in a major protest. I've been in like little small ones down in Tarpon with about 30 people. That's it, you know. So this is a whole new ball game. This is going to be crazy. But you know, a lot of the same rules apply, but it gets a little hairy down in those situations. So let's see where Sergeant Baginski. Let's see if we can hear this. So we had this Food Not Bombs event here in Clearwater, and the cops came up and started checking everyone out.
Dicks.
Yeah. But what they'll try and do, you'll see this in a minute.
I wasn't there, but from what I heard, the police were trying to say you can't feed people in public without a health license. You can't feed the homeless. And
Yeah.
Food Not Bombs is saying, but we're having a picnic in a public park.
Yeah.
We're
An
having a
open
picnic.
Exactly.
So then after they kept telling the police they were having a picnic, and you know having a picnic isn't illegal,
Yeah.
then the police eventually left. But the police asked them about why did they have literature and what kind of literature did they have,
exactly.
and
That's what it's about to get to when he
Which
comes in.
they didn't have to answer.
and what is this anarchist literature, and you can't have this anarchist literature in the park, and
What?
yeah.
Yeah, that's
I can have whatever I
Freedom
want
of
in the park.
speech. Have you read the First
well.
Amendment?
This guy, Sergeant Baginski, I had been filming. He came like literally inches away from me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
Respecting our right to
it's
assemble
pretty
here today.
weird.
Do you have a permit to serve food out here?
Um, I'm not answering any of the questions. I'm just
Okay, then pack this stuff up and get out of here.
We're just sharing food.
Okay. You can't have public food anywhere you want to sit.
Exactly. We're not exaggerating.
Yeah, it's called the First Amendment, Sergeant Baginski.
You're allowed to do it in certain places.
And this is the best part. Yeah, I don't know if anyone can see the police Segway rolling up.
like a mile an hour.
So pretty much, let me skip to the part where they start. I kind of have an explanation in this video. Oh, whoops! I just did that backwards. Let me go. Yeah, I'll go to the part where they're talking. This is kind of the important part of the video. Is where they start talking to people about their political beliefs. You know, the zines that had out there.
Yeah.
Standing over. So pretty much what just happened in that little exchange, the cop was asking them, so what kind of what do you police, the anarchists we deal with vandalize things and blah blah blah, and everyone did a very good job. It was handling it. My friend thought that I've had people say that they gave him too much information, and then I've heard them say that they didn't talk, or they were what did they say? My friend Nick said they shouldn't have said anything at all. Pretty much, you shouldn't have given them any information. then I had a friend who said that they did it just right. They gave him just enough that it was, just like a base explanation. Like, listen, we're peaceful people. Anarchism is not about violence. Blah blah blah. So I don't know what but really, it's all just up to your judgment. I mean, the cop was being friendly, but the thing is, cops act friendly in order to, try and, case information. What's your name? So where do you hang out? That kind of thing. What do you guys do? And you think he's being friendly, but really it's just that's all they want from you. They're not trying to have a nice fight. He's not having fun standing out there in the sun. He'd rather be in his AC patrol cruiser, chilling, watching movies on his laptop. But he's out there talking and being friendly to get information. So you need to be very careful about what you talk to with cops and that kind of thing. Not that there was, I mean, Food Not Bombs is a completely peaceful organization, and there was no real issue there anyway. So
I watched the video, and I thought the most interesting part of it was the exchange with the police, where one of the policemen started talking about some groups of violence, and the woman's answer with Food Not Bombs was, "Oh, those are anarchists, and they should be arrested."
Well, she actually said those are criminals.
But they're criminals.
Ones who perpetrate violence, right? Yeah, not that they're anarchists.
And that we're non-violent.
Right. Yeah, that's what they were saying. So
what that said to me is that the police have this thing in their mind that because of what happened in Seattle 5 or 6 years ago, that groups like this are prone to violence, and they have to stop this. So by saying that, she completely unhooked that in the cop's mind about being violent and being anarchist.
right.
I thought that was very important.
Yeah, that may have been. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's good to clarify. So.
I guess I had a question about and I don't know if you know the answer to this, but like if you're cop watching in a big demonstration, for instance, stuff like you were doing it in like this, like at the RNC, there's not really any way to like separate yourself from like any other protester or whatever. So I was just wondering like how it's kind of hard not to like. I mean, essentially you're part of the protest whether you want to be or not because you don't have like journalism credentials. So I don't know.
Even if you do have journalism credentials, they arrest journalists all the
sure.
time. I mean, I have a press badge for 13:40 a.m. just because I know a couple of my friends have they run the Liberty Underground Radio Network, and they provided us with that, and we kind of do volunteer correspondence or whatever, and we would provide materials as needed. But even with that, they just said, I don't care, and take you in. I mean, they took in Amy Goodman up in Washington or whatever. So it doesn't matter who you are; they'll arrest you, regardless. And there's really no way to separate yourself. And these legal things, you can be practicing all the legal things I was talking about, with standing in the public space and all that. But with I mean, Tampa's essentially like a militarized police state during this RNC event, and it's just going to be very difficult. I feel like not to get arrested, for anybody. I mean, if you're just in the wrong place at the wrong time, like they were doing over in Vancouver and other places, where the cops would just like cordon off an entire block and just take everybody and throw them in these giant buses and whatnot, and that's just the way they deal with, this government deals with free speech, they don't want it, if it's, not, about football or something like that, so, it's definitely very, but if you're in that situation, another thing you need to watch out for, is not only violence from the cops, but there's a lot of violence. I've seen videos, violence from the Black Bloc during these events, which is kind of unsettling because you have these anarchists that are supposedly, anti, force, anti-tyrannical, yet they're like just as big a tyrants as the freaking cops. And there's videos, they're kind of like the high school jock anarchists. It's not a representation of anarchism or, the majority of the anarchists that I know. But it's just, they'll come up and start trying to take cameras and beating cameras out of people's hands and stuff. It's real messed up, and they'll be saying the same things. You can't film me. This is, this is fucked up. Whose side are you on, man? Like you're gonna get me in trouble, dude. Like, it's like, well, you know what? You're in a public space. That's journalism, and isn't that why you cover your face if you're doing illegal stuff anyway? So, and so that's the problem is, so there's a lot of really sketchy things that are to be encountered. I recommend at the RNC at least, if you are gonna bring something, bring a camera. I got this little flip cam. It's in my backpack. It's a remanufactured, waterproof, shockproof camera. It was like $50 or $60, and it takes HD video. Just get something small like that. Something that's durable. They have the Kodak place force are waterproof, and those are good for that kind of event. Because they can get knocked around, and if it breaks, it sucks. I don't want to be out $50, but it's better than being out, taking your really nice home camcorder, yeah. And it does the same job,
What is this?
So, um, yeah, it's definitely want to, have those, resources available. So, yeah, you might just want to take, like something small or,
Your cell phone.
crappy or a cell phone or something like that, right? And if you can get a Ustream,
Those are the people that live there.
I
Okay.
don't.
Looks like those unmarked fans that were around the other night. Go ahead.
No,
Sorry.
they live there.
Yeah, it does look like the unmarked are white cars.
Yeah, y'all are sneaky,
Right.
man.
You should
Sorry.
have seen last Friday.
Dude,
They
get out of
proud
here.
of making
Come here
y'all
for
fearful.
Friday.
Why should
Yeah,
they?
you should.
They're supposedly here to protect us. And sir,
We can show you the video of it. Don't understand.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
tomorrow night should be a very good,
Interesting.
a good
I found it
Cop
like
place
watching
for you to
experience.
practice your cop watching.
Well, I may be here. I may be staying the
hey,
weekend
just
and
remember
next
you might
week.
have to
All
duck and
around.
dodge bullets. My
Jesus.
first Friday here, I had to. They fired off a gun right over there.
Well, great. Well,
Well, I'm a pretty big target. They must be a sorry Annie.
Someone please.
About 9:30 till 3 or so.
Anybody got an open
Bring it.
seat to the Raytheon protest? I could use some fucking screaming and shit.
Where's? Yeah, we're taking a bunch of people.
Cool.
okay. Well, pretty much. I guess everyone's probably going to this Raytheon thing. How many of y'all are? A bunch of y'all are going anyway. So. Yeah, I should. Well, I'm just gonna. I'll stick around here for a little while, but this will be the end of my presentation. I'll just take questions now. If anyone who's sticking around wants to, we can do like a little CopWatch demonstration. Yeah, I'll get y'all a hold the camera. I'll be the cop, and I got those theater skills. So,
I have a question.
yeah.
Will you come back and do this after the RNC for the community hearing?
I'd be so down. Yeah, I want to spread the thing. I've had like issues, with, mobilizing a lot of support, especially being up at Tarpon. It's kind of isolated and stuff. But yeah, I want to spread. And anyone to get with these sheets, we've got email. Please email us. We're gonna be creating a website soon again because I've done that. The whole thing with the settlement and stuff, a good website, legal defense fund, everything's going to be set up and perfectly for this. So but yeah, uh, and so yeah, definitely. Please contact if you need any more information or want to talk to me. And if anyone's interested in doing like a little demonstration thing over here, how to deal with cops, I'll play the cop. All right, cool. Well, thank you all for
Thank you. I'm
listening.
sorry I didn't get
Do you
to
have any more
notice.
locations?
What?
Yeah, I think I had some.
Raytheon is a place that
I don't know if I brought
produces
enough.
military
Not
tech
sure
for
if you
like
can read
trophy
that,
guns and shit
but
like that.
there's the contact information.
And the other thing that Raytheon is kind of bad with is, all the protesters in Sacrifice Square.
Guys, we'll be back
Raytheon was a
later on
major contractor with
to
the US
report.
government to
Bye.
send